Well, look, since our last update yesterday, we have 2 new confirmed cases. This brings the total number to 9. The first case is a man in his 20s, and unfortunately at this point there are no obvious links to other cases. So an investigation is underway to determine how this man became infected. The other case is linked back to the Fiction nightclub site, so this is also concerning. So it's essential that anyone who was at the Fiction nightclub at the exposure times gets tested and remains isolated. There are a number of new exposure sites across the Territory. Those have been updated on the ACT COVID-19 website, and Dr Coleman will provide some further information shortly. On the good news front, yesterday 5,943 tests were conducted across the ACT. So this is an all-time record level of testing in a single day. Across the ACT government sites, the pop-up site at the Gold Creek School, and across the range of other testing sites by private providers. So thank you to Canberrans for coming forward to get tested. And thank you to all of the health staff who made that possible. It's a massive number of tests to get through and to keep the lines and queues as short as possible and the tests churning through as quickly as possible. It was a phenomenal effort yesterday. Now, given the new exposure sites that have been listed today, we are again experiencing a high demand for testing, particularly at the Western Creek site. So we are asking people, if you are able to go to Brindabella Business Park at the airport or to the Epic Testing Centre, that will just take a bit of the pressure off at Western Creek. Testing is, of course, crucial. So we are asking people to come forward, particularly if ACT Health have contacted you and you are a close contact or you have been at one of the exposure sites. This really, really high level of testing is such an important surveillance tool for the ACT. Now, quite a lot has happened in the last 24 hours. Yesterday afternoon, the New South Wales government announced a lockdown for the entire state of New South Wales. This obviously has significant implications in the Canberra region, and it does really align the situation in terms of what people need to do right across the Greater Canberra region. So the message is very simple: please stay at home. The only way the virus spreads is when people come into contact with each other. So if you're watching this on the other side of the ACT border and you're in the Canberra region, there are a small number of essential reasons why you could travel into the ACT. But right now, the best thing for everyone to do is to stay at home. We welcome the announcement from the New South Wales government that there will be this statewide lockdown. That gives us an extra layer of protection, whether you're on the ACT or New South Wales side of the border in the Canberra region, that everyone is in the same situation now. Staying at home as much as possible is the best protection that we can give each other, and an important next level of cooperation between the ACT and New South Wales. We are aware of the challenges that the cross-border situation presents, and we're working with our New South Wales counterparts to make it as straightforward as possible. But the simple message, unless you absolutely have to travel, unless you absolutely need to leave home, don't right at the moment. Now, the other breaking news this morning is the Prime Minister's announcement of the additional 1 million Pfizer doses. I found out about this just a few moments before it was made public, but it's a welcome announcement. What it means for the ACT is about an additional 14,000 Pfizer doses. Now, they need to be batch tested by the TGA before they will become available, so they're not available tonight or tomorrow. They've got to get into the country. But we are anticipating that they will be available to us later in the week. Now, this is important. It's a welcome boost to supply. But to put it in perspective, it's roughly the equivalent of 1 week's worth of additional doses for what we would do in our ACT government clinics. So it will allow us to do more, but it is not such a dramatic increase in supply that it will allow us to do radically more. We're working on what this will mean, and we'll have some further information for the community in the coming days. But we only found out about this a few minutes before the rest of the nation, so we'll just need a little bit of time to work through that, and we'll provide an update for the community on what these extra doses will allow in the coming days. So look, finally, thank you to Canberrans who've been doing the right thing. It's been so pleasing to see the seriousness in which Canberrans are responding to the challenge that we have. I understand people are concerned and anxious. It's a challenging time for everyone. But the response from the Canberra community has been fantastic. Please keep doing what you're doing, staying at home, supporting each other, and if you've got any symptoms or you've been identified as a close contact, coming forward to be tested.